Hey, welcome to this live video. I'm super excited to have a conversation today with Jade from Jade Raw. And yeah, it's just something I'm super excited about. I will just put in the link and perfect. So, one second. So, that's it. So basically, what we're going to talk about today with Jade is how to be raw on the go because I know about her story and she's been living in Vietnam for a couple of years and now she's in Mexico. And before that, or in between, she's been traveling yes, on a fruit-based diet or raw vegan diet. And I'm pretty excited. Hey, Jade, um, I can add you. One second. Yes, and I'm just pretty excited about that and about what we talk about today. Hey,
Excellent. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I'm super excited to talk to you today because I've watched some interviews of you and I'm super excited to hear about your story and all of that. So I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. This has been really exciting. I've been on these talks all day this morning. It's great. Keep connecting with people.
I like it. I like it also. It's cool because I talked with some people I've never talked before. So it's really
Yeah,
interesting to, yeah, just know about people, how they do the raw vegan diet or the fruit-based diet. It's really interesting, for sure.
it is. I'm actually going to start doing more lives with other people on my channel. I never really had done it before. I'm a bit behind the times with social media, so I'm gonna connect with people more often and have more people on my channel. It's good fun.
Nice, nice. So I just wanted to start right away and just ask you, what is your story? How did you come to a fruit-based or raw vegan diet?
Yeah, sure. Let's see, about 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago, I think it was, I watched Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. And
Yes.
I'd been interested in juicing and things like that in the past. About 20 years ago, my partner bought me a juicer and he bought me a food processor, and he gave me the George Malcolm's book, The Hallelujah Diet, which back then was one of the only books around that you could get on raw veganism. And I thought it was a bit strange. I thought, why did he get me this? Like, who eats this way? But but I did start getting into juicing, and I started getting into having barley grass. But I was an extremely unhealthy person back then. But I felt for some degree I was doing some good to my body, having a juice and a barley grass and McDonald's and alcohol and cigarettes and everything else. I was extremely unhealthy. And then about 10 years ago, I watched Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, and I was into my health back then. But when I say I was into my health, I was still eating meat, but I was like protein shake, chicken, salad, that kind of healthy, not vegan kind of healthy. And I watched Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go on a 30-day juice fast. And people thought I was a bit crazy, and I went on it. My partner and I went on it together. Now, he's a type 2 diabetic, and in that 30 days, he came off his
Mhm.
insulin. So
Amazing.
it proved to me straight away, wow, this stuff's amazing. I looked and felt the best I've ever felt in my life. And I thought, wow, you can actually live on fruits and vegetables. And I mean, this is without the fiber or anything in it. This was just a pure juicing. And I was thinking, I feel amazing. I feel so great. Oh my God. Anyway, I killed it. I ended up eating meat again and, went back. But about 8.5 years ago, I became vegetarian, and I thought, you know what, I can sustain that. That's something I can sustain. That's about where I'm at, and got into eating vegetarian. I was really scared of all fake meats and stuff like. Isn't it ridiculous? I was petrified of like a fake sausage. Yeah, I could have sat there and ate a hot dog. you know, but that's what the head and the mind does to you with all this kind of stuff. And so I became vegetarian, and we were on a holiday in Japan, and my daughter, she must have been about 15 at the time. She said, "Oh, Mum, I want us to watch Earthlings. We're learning about it at." She was doing animal studies at tertiary, and I said, "Yeah, okay, let's put it on." I had no idea what it was, but let's watch it. Okay. So my partner, her, and me were in a hotel room in. Hi, Jonas. We're in a hotel room in Japan, and we decided, okay, yeah, let's go vegan. So we watched it. That's it. We're going to go vegan. So we went vegan overnight because of that video. And then I found Freely, the Banana Girl, and Durian Rider, and they were right into raw veganism back then. And I really resonated with Durian Rider back then because he was just such a big advocate for raw living. He was very gentle back then. He was a big advocate as well for 80-10-10 by Douglas Graham. And so I read the 80-10-10 book, and I thought, yep, okay, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. And like, I was really into it for about 2 years straight. I was fully raw, just so channeled into it. And then I fell off the raw vegan wagon, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to be raw again. No, it's too hard. I was traveling, and just everything got too hard at this time when I was traveling. And then I started to get really itchy because I got really bad skin, and I'm allergic to everything. And so, like, my acne started coming back, my face started swelling up, I was just itchy everywhere all the time again. I was like, oh, great, this isn't working for me, because I sort of I thought I could control what I ate, but once you start letting those floodgates in, you start letting more and more food back into your diet. Next thing you know, you're eating pizzas and lasagnas and everything else. So I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going back to eating raw. So I went back, and I just know, and I mean, that was now about 6 years ago, and I just knew in my heart this is the right lifestyle. And I'm kind of glad I had that stop, because one, it helped me understand other people and what they go through, and it helped me understand it's not so easy, because, you know, I went like that raw for 2 years, and I'm thinking, why can't people do it? Because that was how I did it. But then when I stumbled and fell, and like everything sort of unraveled, I was like, okay, now I understand the stumbling blocks in place in this lifestyle, and it's not as easy as we all think it can be. You Googled 80-10-10, but really no explanation. 80% carbohydrates, 10% protein, and 10% fat. But 80-10-10 in itself is a book written by Douglas Graham, and it's basically a manual of how to eat a high carb, low fat lifestyle. So basically, I was just like, this is it. This is where I'm at. This is the greatest life. And I love now sharing it. I love helping people. I love empowering people to they are, because I've traveled extensively doing it. And no matter what your economic status, to some degree, when I say that, if you're poor as poor, I mean, I've been through some really poor villages and stuff, and you can't, but for a basic, you know, in a Western society, predominantly you can do it.
I agree, and I'm a huge fan of the 80-10-10 diet as well. I think everyone should read that book. It's a fantastic book which goes into very detail about why it's so important to eat high carbohydrates, low fat, low protein. So I was pretty lucky to also read the 80-10-10 diet right in the beginning, and I basically stick to it because, or I mean, maybe not 100% all the time, but I definitely love the book, and I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it's like what you said, it doesn't have, I mean, it doesn't have to be the whole time. I mean, sometimes you might have
I
a higher fat levels and whatever, and that's okay.
I agree. I think I sometimes get comments like 80, 10, 10 is too much, it's too restrictive or something. But I'm just saying, like, you can, I mean, when you want to do 70%, 20%, 10%, whatever you want to do, but everything that is inside of the 80, 10, 10 book still is super informative and super helpful. And if you don't want to stick like 80, 10, 10, 100% every day, then that's completely fine. I think Doug Graham just says, this
The
is a
guide.
good way, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just nice and it shows people why it's important to eat high carb. But if you do it 100% the way 80 10 10, I mean, you don't have to. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the book as well. I really love that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It doesn't have to be, you know, right there. And I think for me, in the first 2 years of becoming a raw vegan, I was just like that. And
Me too.
I didn't allow myself any room to breathe at all. And I was so strict on myself. And when we're so strict on ourselves like that, you're not happy. You don't become
I
happy.
agree.
And that's not healthy either, because happiness is part of being healthy. And if you're not happy and you're imprisoning yourself in your lifestyle and being so hard and strict on yourself, what's the point of that either?
I loved it. I agree so much. I also think it depends, like sometimes where we are, which country, which climate. For example, right now I live on the Canary Islands and it's very hot. So I don't know, I don't crave that much fat. But when I go to Germany and it's winter time and it's really cold, I just eat a little bit more fat and it feels good to me. So I agree so much.
What kind of temperatures do they? I know it gets cold there. What kind of temperatures do they have in Germany?
That's a good question. So we have it. I'm like we in Europe use degrees, and I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, so I cannot
I
say
don't
it.
know Fahrenheit. I'm degrees. I'm Australian.
Ah, perfect, perfect. So it's about it can get down to minus 15 or minus
Wow, so
13.
cold.
Yes, it's really cold, but I don't know. It's just in I'm happy that I'm in the Canary Islands because right now, from October until March, it's always gray and cold, and it gets like darks at 5 o'clock or sometimes at 4 o'clock. So I don't like that. I'm more a summer person. I like when it's hot, and yes, so that's why I went to the Canary Islands.
And what
Yes.
do you do in the Canary Islands? Are you at school? Are you working? Are you?
Both actually. So I have a job in a startup and it's online. So and the startup is located in Germany, but because it's online, I can go here in the Canary Islands and live here, which is really nice.
Yeah,
And
wonderful.
also I still go to university, but also because of the Corona crisis or what's going on, and they allow people to have like they always give the option of an online course. So
Uh-huh.
I just chose the online courses and that's why I can go. Yes.
Oh, wow. So you just get the best of everything.
It's all right because the Canary Islands are just 1 hour time difference to Germany, and that's really good because I don't have to like think of time. What's the time right now in Germany? Because it's just 1 hour difference.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, I just saw a question here earlier. A lady said, greens don't have many carbohydrates, so it's predominantly fruit and vegetables. It is predominantly fruit. So you will find yourself, if you are following 80-10-10 to the T, so to speak, you will be eating at least 90% of your diet fruit. In saying that, it is important to get your greens in, and Dr. Douglas Graham recommends tender leafy greens. So they're predominantly like your butter lettuce, your romaine lettuce, your baby spinaches, and all those kind of things. A lot of us, though, include extra vegetables on top of that. We have the microgreens, sprouts, and I know for me, I eat all vegetables.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't discriminate on any vegetables because I'm a big believer in getting in a whole heap of fiber, because it's great for gut health. I only learnt this recently through Fiber Fueled that our gut actually, everything that you eat, like the fiber in every vegetable, feeds different bacteria, good bacteria in our gut. So it is so important to get that diversity of fiber. So But if you've got digestive issues and things like that starting out, then I would recommend you just have the fruit and the tender greens at first, and then slowly start to add in extra plants into your diet.
I agree so much. I think there's sometimes the misconception, or I get also comments sometimes that they say the 8 to 10 10 diet is just about fruit, but that's not true because Doug Graham, he recommends to eat lots of vegetables, lots of leafy greens. So I also, and for me, I try to eat only fruit for a period of time, but after some, I don't know, some days or after one day already, I was just saying, no, I want vegetables or I want something savory. So yeah,
I hear you. I'm the same, and I love having my fruit and like my greens on the side. I feel like you get the saltiness sort of from the
yes,
greens as well. I feel satiated, whereas when I just eat fruit, which I've had many days where I do that, especially when I'm traveling, I don't always have
yeah.
the best access, but I don't feel like I'm satisfied for the day. I feel like I've eaten and I've got through, and I guess because if you're on the road traveling, you sort of got everything else going on anyway. But if I was at home and I just ate like that, I'd be looking for more food, definitely.
I
I like.
agree. I agree. Also, some people they talk about cravings, and I once heard Doug Graham talk about cravings, and he said if you crave sweets like chocolate, just eat more fruit, and if you crave savory things such as I don't know lasagna or something like that, just eat vegetables. And for me, that's true. Like because I never really crave sweets because I eat that much fruit, but I sometimes crave like savory dishes, so I just eat vegetables instead, and it works pretty fine.
Wow, that's awesome advice. That's really good. I was talking about cravings on the last video I was on, but I'm going to use that. That's really interesting. Thanks for that. I like that tip.
I liked it. Also, like a comment said, hello and greetings from Germany. Hello back. So, also, I want to talk about because you lived in Vietnam for a couple of years, and I think that's so interesting. I really want to go to Asia and go to Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, all of these countries.
I've been to all of them. Yeah.
Amazing. So, maybe if you want, could you share about your experience living in Vietnam?
Yeah, Vietnam's really special. It's different to a lot of the rest of Asia. It hasn't been, besides Ho Chi Minh, it hasn't been westernized the way Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia has. It's still it's still to some degree quite traditional. Um, oh, sorry. I've got my charger underneath because I've been on the phone all morning and it just all of a sudden
Yeah,
clicked. Um, the fruit's amazing there. It's really cheap. It's safe. It's a safe country. So is Thailand in
nice.
saying that. Thailand and Vietnam are the two safest countries in Southeast Asia, especially if you're traveling by yourself. They're really safe countries. Vietnam, like so safe. I was working there and I would finish work at 9 o'clock at night and I rode a little, scooter, which I didn't go over 40 Ks on, but well, no one goes fast. Everyone's just got little putt
Yeah,
scooters. And I would like drive home at 9 o'clock at night. Nothing would ever happen. I could walk the streets in Vietnam. I would not do that here in Mexico. I don't feel the same level of safety as I did in Vietnam. Vietnam's a really, really safe country. I'm talking prior to the pandemic. If Vietnam comes back
yeah.
to the way it was, definitely I would go back there. I love Vietnam. I love the people. The fruit is so beautiful. You can get fruit anywhere. You just get on your scooter or you go for a walk in the next street. You always see some little old lady selling bananas, papayas, pineapples, anything.
Nice.
You take a plastic container with you. You can have them cut it up for you. Like it's really easy for a fruitarian to live in, and you can get fruit all year round, like watermelon all year round, pineapple all year round, mangoes bar 1 month you can't get it, but otherwise there's always different ranges of mangoes, papayas, and then you get all your specialty fruit like your rambutan, your longans, your light cheese. Like it is a fruit paradise, and it's really affordable. Like I'm talking super cheap. I could feed myself on a raw vegan diet there for $50 or $60 a week.
Oh, nice, nice.
I can't do that in Mexico. It's nowhere near as cheap. And then,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, it's just a really nice, it's a nice place to live. I would recommend anybody traveling through Vietnam. I've traveled throughout Vietnam, like most of it, and I haven't gone to a place I haven't liked. Whereas in other parts of Southeast Asia, I've gone to parts and I'm like, oh, I don't like that, I like that part, and whatever. It's just completely different.
I like that so much because a couple of years ago I've been to Thailand and I'm just in love with Asian culture. I don't know why, but I just, they're so polite and like Buddhism and all of this. I'm super, like super interested in that. So I would love to go. I actually wanted to go earlier to Asia, but then all of this situation happened and I could not go. But I hope to go next, like next autumn, next fall,
Yeah,
maybe in
next
October.
year it'll be better. They're
Mhm.
looking at starting to opening up some of the countries, and I reckon by next year you'll be fine to go there definitely. And it's so easy. You can like travel like right through. Like we went from Malaysia and we traveled on the train right through, then right through Thailand, then to Laos, then to Cambodia, over to Vietnam, up to the Philippines. So you can travel like right through Southeast Asia.
Amazing. I will do it. Like, I want to go at least 1 year and just travel to Southeast Asia. That's my plan. What is your, like, what are your three top countries in Southeast Asia?
I'd have to say Vietnam, and
Hmm.
Thailand. I love parts of Indonesia. My least favorite would probably be Malaysia. Um, yeah, but my top two, Vietnam and Thailand, they're my top two. 100% my top two. And I've traveled extensively through Thailand and Vietnam. Um, both, they're very different in country, they're very different culturally. I think the Thais
Hmm.
are slightly more friendlier, in saying that when you go, the Vietnamese can get a little bit shy and reserved, but that's because of their government practices and how they are. But definitely when you go through the villages and everything, it's amazing. But both of those countries, Cambodia is a wonderful country. You just got to keep yourself safe in Cambodia. Philippines is probably the friendliest country in Asia.
Cool. I would love to go there as well. Like, every country. Yeah.
They are so friendly there. So friendly. Like you can't walk anywhere without people saying hello to you. It's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really friendly country. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mexico. Mexicans are very friendly here too.
Cool. Yes, like that. Like, okay, I talk a lot, but that's my next goal. So first, I want to go to Southeast Asia and then to South America and Mexico because now I speak like more Spanish. So I
Oh,
think it would
wow.
be cool. Yeah, yeah, because on the Canary Island, it's Spanish for South American Spanish culture. So they speak Spanish, and
Yeah. So you can do that traveling. Yeah, for sure. How
Mhm.
cool.
But you don't speak Spanish, and it's okay in Mexico.
There's not much English here. I must say, there's not much English. Look, I'm fine because I've lived overseas for 5 years and I'm well travelled. I think if you're not so well travelled, it probably wouldn't be as easy. I've just learnt ways to communicate over the years, like through my travelling. But in saying that, they're very friendly. Like they try and help you. I've never been to a country so friendly. Like I've had people chase after us to help us on trains. A lady walked us to the supermarket. It was like 4 blocks away. She walked us there. I was like, how nice are these people? Like,
Nice.
yeah, it's really, really friendly here. But definitely the language, not so much. But in saying that, a lot of the words are like English words, but sort of with ease at the end and stuff like that as well.
Cool, amazing. I just want to say because it started raining, so I will close the window because I'm
Mhm.
afraid it's loud. 1 second.
Yeah, you're fine. Do what you have to do.
It's super funny because it usually doesn't rain, in Gran Canaria, but now I did. So
Is
really
it a
cool.
hot rain? Like, is it a hot rain when it rains?
Not so much. I think it's more cold. So it's like I think the Canary Islands are more subtropical, so they're
Hmm.
not like Europe, but also not tropics. They're like a mix
In between, yeah, because
in
Vietnam,
between.
they're just hot rains. So,
Yeah, I love that so much. Like when I was in Thailand, it was just raining. I was there during raining season, and
yeah,
it was raining at least once a day, but it was like boom, like all of
yeah.
the water coming down. I really like that. So
And then
nice.
you're just trying to like get your, because the sewage system and everything isn't in good order in Asia. All of a sudden, it's flooded like this, and you're trying to walk your way through. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. I saw so many pictures of fruit in Vietnam or in Southeast Asia. So I'm really looking forward to all of the tropical fruit also because I never tried durian, I never tried jackfruit, and I'm on this fruit-based journey for over 4.5 years. So I think it's time to try some more tropical fruit as well.
My
Yes.
favorite's Kemperdack. It's
Cool.
so delicious. It's like a jackfruit, but not so chewy. So if you open it and it's nice and ripe, oh, it just melts in your mouth. It's delicious.
Ah. I think there's also like there's fruit that you can buy in supermarket that's in Europe, and there's like fruit that you can buy organic from markets in Europe, and then like a lot higher is like really tropical fruit that you can buy in Southeast Asia. I think
It'd be
there's like
quite
a big
expensive
difference.
though, wouldn't it?
Yes, for sure, for sure. That's why also like I never really eat tropical fruit so much because it's really expensive in Europe, but that's why I also want to go to Southeast Asia and just buy and
Yeah,
not
because
worry
it
about the
is where
price.
you've got the opportunity to do it. I won't buy that
Yeah.
fruit when I go back to Australia. I refuse to. Like, I was paying like 50 cents a kilo for dragon fruits in Vietnam,
Ah,
and they're like $30 a kilo in Australia. I'm not paying $30 a
crazy.
kilo for them. It's crazy, and they're not that nice when they pick them early because they pick them early and then they ripen like as they travel through, and they're not that great. Like whereas if you have them in Asia, that you get them super sweet because they pick them ripe, and yeah, it's completely different.
I agree. I agree so much. Another question that I wanted to ask you is how is it to go fruit-based traveling? Like, what are your advice? If you're on the road, if you travel, what would you give for people who want to stay fruit-based or raw vegan?
Definitely work out what you can take with you, because you've only got a 7 kilogram limit on the plane, and like by the time you pack your computer in, like my computer's 3 kilos, and sometimes like I might if I'm traveling and I'm leaving all my stuff behind, I'm packing all my clothes and stuff in that bag too. So you've got to really be mindful, what can I actually fit in? And so I look for things like dates. When we came over here, I packed apples. Man, I was allowed, Canada Airline didn't weigh your bag. They just say you've got to have it this size, but no weight value. And I'm like, cool.
Right.
So I packed in mandarins, apples, and dates because I don't want to just eat all dates because that's really dehydrating. And then when you're on a plane, as you know, you get dehydrated again, and it's hard to access water because you're not allowed to bring water on the plane. So you've got to buy their little bottles, and so it goes on. So I was happy. I packed in apples and mandarins because they're hydrating, and then dates, which is awesome.
I love that. My go-to, what I take with me if I go for flights is dates and cucumber
Mm.
because dates are just they don't have that much space and cucumber is super hydrating. So that's my go-to. But what I do and what is allowed if I go with flights like in between of Europe, you can actually take your luggage,
Mm-hmm.
but you can also take an extra bag full of food and they never weigh the food.
Wow,
So
that's really great. And that's in Europe.
yeah.
How cool.
So, for example, when I came to Gran Canaria, I was having like this bag of like my stuff, and then like really a big bag of all of of a lot of food, and they were just like, "Okay, go."
Yeah,
So yeah,
because in Asia they can be quite strict on baggage, and definitely Australia are, and yeah, that becomes a bit of a problem then too.
true. Yeah, I think it depends. but I love the advice with traveling. I think it's possible. It's a little bit more tricky sometimes, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah,
But
it can be done. And look, if you're traveling by train or bus or like interstate and places like that, then it's a lot easier too. And I like to freeze ice blocks. I can't take them when I'm traveling overseas because of your weights that you're allowed. I mean, with your meals of liquid. But I freeze up ice packs, like those lunchbox ice packs, and I
mhm,
put them in the bag, and then I can like make a salad or something like that as well, and it keeps it nice and fresh and cool. So it's like
great.
thinking ahead.
I love that. I think it's a great advice. The only thing that I would never or not do again is what I did was to fast during a flight, but I would not do it again because afterwards I was so hungry and I just binged on dates and all of that, so it was not so good. So I like to eat, but
So do I. So do I. And as you said, like then you end up binging, but you can't satisfy yourself. Once you go that
yeah,
lengthy time of not eating, all of a sudden you can't satisfy yourself, and it's just like, why did I do that? What for?
I agree. I agree so much. And then another question I would love to ask is, what mistakes did you do in a raw vegan diet, or what would you do different that you did in the past?
Oh, what mistakes, God, where can we start? I've made many. I think like biggest mistakes I've made is probably getting too ambitious with you know that all or nothing mentality. That's been a big mistake. Um, Probably not making easier style meals when I first started out. Like I just, I'd make everything so hard for myself. I've been making dehydrated meals. I'd have that going, this going. And then I became really tired and sick of it. But nowadays I keep it more simple, like keep it simple. And for me, that works. It's a lot easier doing it that way. That's for sure.
I love that. I think that's great. I think a mistake that I did was definitely not eating enough. I think
Oh,
that's my
yeah.
biggest mistake for sure because I think it's hard sometimes, especially because I started eating raw vegan or fruit-based when I went to school and then to university. And when you're in a schedule with other people that don't eat raw vegan, it's difficult. Like you really have to plan and you have to make time to eat the food because you just like I eat so much more food than, for example, some friends of mine, especially girls, because they eat maybe for in the breakfast to eat some bread and then they're good for a couple of hours. But I need to eat like 5 bananas or something. So you really have to schedule in more time. And that's something that I had to learn to really make it a priority to eat enough. That's for
Oh,
sure.
definitely. Well, it's the number one reason really people end up failing on this lifestyle is they undereat, and it's a mistake made by so many people. I have a Facebook group, and I see people. Sometimes they put the smallest little bowl up, and it's got like just blueberries and strawberries in it or something, and they're so low calorie. And they're like, breakfast is done. And I'm thinking, you're going to be so hungry. And then lunchtime, they'll have like a bit of lettuce and some tomato or something. And oh, this is my lunch. And then by dinner, I don't see from these people ever again. By dinner, they've probably eaten everything out of the house and they've said, it's too hard. I can't do this lifestyle. But yeah, definitely eating enough is so important on this lifestyle. I can't stress it enough. And I think also when starting out, it's really important to have a range of variety and a range of meals
Yes.
because if you don't have that variety, then you'll find yourself in a position where you get bored. Um, and I think that's common for everybody because we come from a society where we might have, 7 different meals a day, a week, even if it's just, I don't know, your standard meals, your meat and 3 veg or your lasagna, whatever, we have in a Western society. And then all of a sudden, if you come into a raw diet, or even if you're coming from a cooked vegan, because cooked vegan, you can still make the meals that you grew up on. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've had a watermelon for breakfast, I've had some bananas for lunch, and your head's saying, I want to have a dinner. And all of a sudden, you don't know what you're making, or you might make one dressing, the same dressing every day. You're going to get sick of it, and you say, I'm sick of this lifestyle. So it's really important to have a range of recipes. That's a great thing about the Raw Vegan Bundle. You can get over 50 recipe books, and there's so many different ideas in there for all levels. If you don't feel like making like intensive recipes, there's lightweight recipes for people who just want to keep it simple, and then there's more complex recipes for people who want to make your burgers, your lasagnas, your pizzas. There's even a raw gingerbread man in there, and a raw gingerbread house, and hot dogs, raw vegan hot dogs, and all sorts. Like some of the recipes, I'm like, how do these people come up with this stuff? But there's some pretty creative stuff in that Raw Vegan Bundle.
I agree so much. Like, I wanted to say that because learning how to create delicious raw vegan recipes is probably one of the best things you can do. Because for me, also, the first years, I didn't buy any recipe ebooks. So I was just eating super simple, like eating cucumber, carrots, very, very, very simple. And I liked the simplicity. But after some time, I realized, okay, I want to try different things. And especially if you do a fruit-based diet or a raw vegan diet long term over a lot of years, at one point you want to try out different things. So for me, buying recipe ebooks and learning how to create delicious raw vegan recipes was a game changer because you can make for dinner a super simple, delicious raw vegan sauce, for example, and it like then you have veggies, but you put the sauce on top and it changes everything. And now it's instead of like you have to eat your veggies, you really enjoy eating this amazing salad. So I'm super grateful to be part of the Raw Vegan Bundle because the Raw Vegan Bundle, maybe for those of you who don't know, it's a collection of the, in my opinion, best raw vegan ebooks out there. And it's every ebook has never been released before. So it's a collection of the ebooks and it's around 50 ebooks, I think. And it's just $50. So it's super, super cheap because imagine if you would just buy one ebook, you would pay around 10 euros to 20 euros, sometimes maybe more. And when you buy the raw vegan bundle, you get one ebook for under €1, or I think it's 80 cents or something. So it's super, super, super cheap. And yes, I'm pretty excited to be part of that
And
for sure.
we were talking about Dr. Douglas Graham too. There's also a book included from him, and it's all what do they call those books we listen to? An
Audiobooks?
audio. Audio. Yeah, it's audio book. Yeah, so there's an audio book from Dr. Douglas Graham. So that in itself, I've seen it online. He sells his audio books and stuff for like $50 and $60. So that by itself is worth it just to get that source of information there, and that will help you if you're wanting to come into the raw vegan lifestyle and you have no idea what you're doing. That will give you the knowledge you need. And then on top of that, there's like 50 raw vegan recipe books, which will then give you the skills to be able to make this lifestyle sustainable. And on top of that, there's a collaboration book, the holiday collaboration book, and all of us that are in the Raw Vegan Bundle, we've all submitted a recipe, and it's to get you through the holidays. So if you're worried about what you're going to make on Christmas Day, there's everything in there, including a raw vegan gingerbread man house. Like, I'm still blown away by that. When I saw it, I'm like, who came up with that? Like, how clever. Like, so clever. And so it's a great way, one, so you don't feel left out on Christmas Day, and also two, if you want to introduce your family to raw foods, but they're a bit like, no, you can make some creative sort of foods. It can be a bit overwhelming for some people to just have a bowl of salad. They're like, I don't want to eat just a bowl of salad. You're kidding,
Yes.
aren't you? But if you make some raw vegan burgers, or you make some raw vegan lasagna or pizza, or even I saw these pasty things, or all that Asian food that's there, Indian cauliflower curried wings or whatever they were, and buffalo wings. You make that kind of food, people go, and that looks normal, so to speak,
Yes.
and they will try it. So it's a great way for your friends and family to enjoy this lifestyle without sitting there with a big bowl of salad, because let's be real, not everybody in your family are going to want to eat like that, and most of
Mm.
us know who eat this way. It's, you don't always get the greatest reception when you say, do you want a salad? What, for dinner? Like, you know, so
Yes, I agree because I think sometimes it's just important to invest because I tried so many things on my own and like created so many or tried to create so many recipes and I was giving like for example the salad to my family and they were like, you enjoy it? And they didn't enjoy it. And when you have like yes and so many times, but when you have actually recipe ebooks where you have the recipes and you can really, make the recipes with their description and you know how it looks like in the end, you can really make super delicious recipes. And it actually, because I was reading through the books, and it's crazy how much variety there is and how much creativity that each individual has. So maybe actually I'm a huge fan of your book actually. Do you want to talk a little bit about your book? Because you submitted also a super, super great book.
yeah, the Rawsome Reset is my book. It's got no seeds, no avocado, no oil, nothing in it because I've been asked for so long by people, how do I eat no overt fats? Now, overt fats, for those who don't know, it's seeds, nuts, avocado. And so that really puts you on a 95-5-5 kind of macro, and as we were saying, you can eat on any level. A lot of people like to eat 95-5-5 at 95-5-5 if they're wanting to clear their skin, they want to lose weight, they want to clear their taste buds of having spices and things like that. And for me, quite often, if I'm having a lot of cravings, I will put myself onto 95-5 because I'm just having whole food in its most natural form. And for me, then it takes away all of those cravings. So it's a 7-day meal plan, and every day in the meal plan, you get a grocery list as well, and also a positive affirmation and some knowledge about raw vegan living in each day. And I also have a companion journal to go with it. So if you look inside the cover, there's a link to be able to get access to that also. And that journal's to set you up for goal setting, mindset, planning and preparing, releasing excuses. And then I've got a 7-day journal with journal prompts, and which is really great for people when they're wanting to change their lifestyle.
Amazing. Yes, as I said, I'm a huge fan. So if you want to buy the raw vegan bundle, you can super easily just tap on the link in my info box or also my bio or
Your
also in
bio.
Jade's bio or also in Jade's bio and you can just tap there, go to the website, see who's contributing, see the ebooks, and then buy it super easily. So it's very, very easy.
Yeah, and it's well worth getting, especially if you're and any level. I mean, I love seeing new raw vegan books just because I like getting new ideas. But I mean, if you're just starting out, like, you've basically got your raw vegan kit. That's it.
Yes.
You're loving it.
It's true. So there's one comment. It's from before, and it says, traveling seems to be a common denominator among all the talks I've listened to. I'm jealous. Your lifestyle and income allow such freedom to move around this wonderful earth of ours. Yes and
Yeah,
no.
I think it is, and I think it's becoming more and more common as we're able to get work online or pick up work
Yes.
in other countries. Uh, yeah, it opens the doors. Like you said, you're working online, so that gives you the privilege to be able to travel.
Exactly.
Myself, I'm trying to get back into Australia because I'm sort of done with traveling at the moment. But
Yeah.
since the pandemic, I've had my days. But when Australia opens, I'm going to go back um, and nest for a while.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I agree. I agree. I think because past year I was 9 months or 10 months. I was in Gran Canaria, spending 1 year there. And in the last month or in the last weeks, I was like, oh, I would love to go home and just, stay in one place, not meet many people, just calm down, be with my family. So I can relate
Yeah,
a
no,
little bit.
at the end of the day, nothing beats your home country. I mean, you can wherever you go, it's always interesting and it's exciting, but
Yes.
home's always where your heart is. I think it's because that's where our loved ones are, and
Yeah.
it's what we know. It's our roots. You know, it's where our roots are. So yeah, home is always where the heart is.
I agree because when I left Germany, I was like, no, I don't want Germany anymore. I'm done with Germany. But when I was in a different country, I was looking pictures of Germany, and it's true, like it's like some part of your heart is still in that country. I
Always,
agree.
always. Like one of the things I miss the most, we have a magpie. It's a black and white bird. And anytime you wake up in the morning in Australia, you can hear them singing. And that's something I've missed so much in Australia. I miss the sound of the magpies, and even like I find myself looking at kangaroos and koalas. I never would have sat there looking at all that back home because they're just different things that we just take for granted. But once you're out of your country, it's all those things that you say, oh, I love them. I love, I want to see them.
True. I agree. So actually, like if you, I would not have any more questions. So if you want, we could end the video and start, and then because everyone who's watching, we will have a part two basically of the interview. And so everyone should go to Jade's
Yeah,
Instagram.
exactly. Give us 5 minutes. I'm just going to have a quick toilet break. And
If you want, if you want, we could also, because now it's a quarter to 6. So if you want, we can have like 10-minute break.
okay, 10 minutes. It sounds great. Well, let's make it 6 o'clock and then it'll be 12 o'clock for me. So, in
Perfect.
15 minutes, we are going to join on my channel and we are going to talk about going to university and being under 25 and eating raw and how it is with, the younger generation, which I'm really excited to speak about.
I'm also super excited. So, yes, see you then. And thank you for
Okay.
watching for everyone
Thank
who's
you for
watching.
having me too, Eva. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. See you.
Bye.